Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by. I'm Carol and I'm glad to have you here. Please consider subscribing. So today I have another canning video for you. We are going to be canning up a mixed berry agave jam. I wanted to do this recipe for you guys. I've looked at it several times and it's been on my radar, but the reasons being, many of you asked me about using other sweeteners in making jams and jellies or just canning in general. This uses agave instead of granulated sugar. Also, it is a low sugar or considered a low sugar or no sugar recipe. So we're going to be using low sugar or no sugar fruit pectin to make the jam. So it's a little bit different, a little bit outside of the box, and I think it will help you understand the concept of using a different sweetener when making jams and jellies, and also give you some experience with the low sugar or no sugar pectin. It takes just a few ingredients. It is a mixed berry jam. You don't have to mix your berries if you don't want to, but the recipe does call for mixed berries. So you could use whatever berries that your heart desires. What looked good to me when I went to the grocery store to pick up berries was blueberries and blackberries. So that's what I'm going to be making my jam with today, but you could use strawberries, you could use raspberries, however you want to combine them. I did half and half blackberries, half blueberries, but you do whatever appeals to you. Also, instead of using fresh fruit, you could also use frozen fruit that has been thawed. So if you have berry bushes and you have fruit in your freezer, you can totally use frozen berries to make this recipe. You just want to defrost them first. So you're going to need 4 cups of crushed berries. So you want to measure the 4 cups after you crush your berries. I leave mine a little bit chunky because I like my jam to have a lot of texture to it. Plus, the other reason I like to leave mine a little bit chunky in the beginning is because during the cooking process, they do continue to break down. So I just give mine a rough crush using a potato masher. And then I measured out 4 cups. You're going to need 1.5 tablespoons of bottled lemon juice. Yes, we need to use bottled lemon juice here. Lemon juice is used here for some safety reasons, but mostly for gelling. And instead of sugar, instead of using granulated sugar, we're going to use our agave nectar. I like to buy the organic blue agave from Costco, but you can find other brands at the grocery store. It's readily available. It's easy to find. One of the things that I love about it is, unlike honey, it does not crystallize. So you'll never have the problem with it like you do with honey, where it will crystallize. It stays liquid and it stays good for a very long time. And you just store it in your pantry. That's it. This recipe, like most jams, is fast and furious. So you're gonna want to make sure you have everything prepped and ready to go before you start making your jam. The other thing I wanted to mention is at the end of this video, I'm going to be answering some common questions that I get about problems with jams and jellies, so make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video to maybe gather some information. If you're struggling with getting your jams and jellies to gel, I might have some information that might help you in that department, but we'll do that at the end of the video. So I'm going to bring you in close, so we're going to get started. Okay guys, we are all set to get started. Make sure you have your canner prepped. So I have 3 quarts of water in my canner that is warming up to a simmer while we're prepping our jam. So I have my 4 cups of crushed blueberries and blackberries, and to that we are going to sprinkle our pectin into our berries. We're also going to add our 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice. We're going to turn our heat on to high, and we're going to bring this mixture up to a full rolling boil that cannot be stirred down. That's typical with any jam or jelly. As you can see, like I said before, I left mine fairly chunky. The berries will continue to break down as they cook, so that's why I leave mine kind of chunky. If you don't like your jam to be chunky, just crush your berries down further. So the other thing I want to mention here is you want your heat to be on high. We want to bring this up to a full rolling boil as quickly as possible. That's one of the problems I think you guys might be having with your jams and jellies gelling. We don't want to take a long time for it to come up to the rolling boil that can't be stirred down. So make sure you have your heat on high. Make sure you're stirring frequently so that nothing burns or scorches on the bottom. Okay guys, we are at a full rolling boil that cannot be stirred down. As you can see, as I'm stirring, it's still boiling really vigorously, and that is what we're looking for. So now we are ready to add our agave. So we're gonna pour that in all at once, and it's 3/4 cup of agave. I forgot to mention earlier that agave is lower on the glycemic index than sugar is, and it is also sweeter than granulated sugar, so we can use less of it. That's what makes this a low sugar recipe for making jam. Also, I want to note berries are very colorful and very messy, and they like to spatter, so you might want to wear an apron or dark colored clothes when you're doing this, because it does spatter a lot. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this back up to a full rolling boil that cannot be stirred down, and then we're going to let it boil hard like that for 1 minute. And I think this is another place where you guys might be struggling, is you have to wait for it to come back up to that full rolling boil after you add your sugar, stirring constantly, and we want it to boil really hard for 1 full minute. That's what it takes to get it to set up properly. Okay guys, we are back up to our full rolling boil that cannot be stirred down. It took a minute or two to get up to this point, and you can hear it boiling vigorously, and we want to start timing 1 minute. Okay guys, our minute is up, so we are ready for canning. I'm going to remove it from the heat and get myself set up for the canning process. Okay guys, we are all set for canning. Modern canning guidelines state that we do not need to pre-sterilize jars or lids if we're processing for 10 minutes or more, and we're going to be processing for 10 minutes. I have 3 quarts of simmering water in the bottom of my steam canner. If you are water bath canning, you want to make sure you have enough simmering water in your canner to cover your jars by at least 1 inch once you put them inside of your canner. My jars, I washed them and put them in my canner to keep them hot while I was making my jam. Today I'm using ball lids. I just washed them and set them aside. So we are all set. Make sure you're starting with hot jars, that's important. So we're gonna ladle our hot jam into our hot jars to 1/4 inch of headspace. You're going to use a debubbling tool, plastic butter knife, or chopstick to remove your air bubbles. So you're just going to poke around inside of your jar to release your air bubbles. And then I'm going to use a paper towel dipped in white vinegar to clean my rims. We don't want anything to interfere with getting a good seal, so make sure there's no jam residue on the surface where the lid is going to go. And then we are going to center our lids and then add our bands to fingertip tight. Fingertip tight just means you want to twist it just until you start to feel some resistance. You don't want to over tighten it, because if you over tighten it, it can cause your lid to buckle. So those are all ready to go inside the canner. Okay, yeah, I had to put on my apron because that was making a big mess and I didn't want to ruin my pink shirt. Anyway, something else worth mentioning here is this recipe is a very small batch. Ball said that it would make about 4 8-ounce jelly jars, and that's pretty much spot on. It was 4-ounce jelly jars. I had a little bit left over, but it's pretty spot on as far as their amounts, and sometimes Ball recipes are not. So this one is spot on. For those of you who have smaller households, this would be a great recipe to use because it makes such a small amount of jam. Anyway, I've got my heat on high, and I have my jars in my canner. If you are water bath canning, like I said, you want to make sure the water in your canner covers your jars by at least 1 inch. If you are traditional water bath canning, you want your water to come to a full rolling boil before you start your processing time. For those of us who are steam canner, there's a dial gauge on top of your steam canner lid that tells you when to start your processing time. You'll be in the green zone. The manufacturer of the steam canner will explain how to calibrate it to make sure that you're starting your processing time at the right time. So anyway, we're gonna bring this up to temperature and we're gonna process for 10 minutes. Something else to note, once you start your processing time, you want to adjust your heat a little bit just to maintain the full rolling boil or being in your green zone on your steam can or dial gauge. Anyway, let's process for 10 minutes and I'll bring you back. Okay, so I processed for the 10 minutes like I told you, and I'm letting my jar sit in my canner for another 5 or so. So while that's happening, and before we look at our delicious jam, I'm just gonna go over a few things about making jams and jellies. I think this will answer some of the questions that I get from you guys who are struggling. So first of all, I talked in my video as I was making my jam, I talked about bringing it up to a full rolling boil. That is really important, and you want to do that as quickly as possible. I think that's one of the things you guys are struggling with. So make sure you have it on high heat, make sure you're stirring constantly. I think that will help. If it takes too long for it to come up to a full rolling boil, some evaporation is happening, and it can affect the outcome of the jam. So you want to bring it up to a full rolling boil as quickly as possible. The other thing is you have to, then after you add your sugar, you want to bring it up to a full rolling boil again, and once you get to that point, then you start timing the 1 full minute. So I think part of it is you guys just aren't bringing it up to a full rolling boil a second time, and you're not boiling maybe for the full 1 minute, and that will cause your jam or jelly not to set properly. So I think that is the biggest issue if you are using a commercial pectin. So the other thing is going to be to make sure that you are using the appropriate pectin, right? So today's recipe was about low sugar. Even though we added a little bit of sugar, we added agave, we still could not use, this recipe would not come out properly if we hadn't used the low or no sugar pectin. You cannot use classic pectin and reduce the amount of sugar and expect the same result. So make sure you are using the pectin that is appropriate for the recipe that you are using. And they have the ball anyway, the bulk pectin. If you pull the label off, they have a number of recipes in there for basic fruit jams and jellies. So this is a good one to use. I do enjoy ball, and I do like the recipes that it gives on the inside of the label. So make sure you check that out as well. This also comes in classic pectin, the bulk. If you're making a lot of jams and jellies, you're better off buying it in bulk. It's cheaper. So the next thing is to check the expiration date. So make sure if you're using a commercial pectin that it has not expired. So if you've had it in your cupboard a few years, you might want to check it. It could be old. If it's old and expired, you shouldn't expect your jam or jelly to set up the way that you would want it to. So make sure you check the expiration date. I do want to note that Pomona's pectin, I haven't done a lot with Pomona pectin, so I don't know a ton about that. I am going to try a few Pomona recipes this year. That is my goal, so I can bring you some of those recipes on how to use that pectin, because it does work a little bit differently. It does not expire, so just know that. If you are making a jam or jelly without any added commercial pectin and you're just cooking it to get it to gel, you have to bring it up to the gelling or set stage. So you have to use a candy thermometer to bring it up to 220 degrees. If you undercook it, it won't set. If you overcook it, it will set too hard. So there's a fine line there between not set and set too hard or too much. So using a candy thermometer is the only way to get it to the perfect temperature. So make sure you invest. Candy thermometers are not that expensive, and they are invaluable if you are making a traditional jam or jelly without any added pectin. Another issue that concerns people is fruit float or separation. That can happen, and there's nothing wrong with your jam or jelly. I did make this is the strawberry rhubarb jam that we did a month or so ago, and you can tell that once it's set, I do have some more fruit at the top than I do in the bottom. There's nothing wrong with it. It is not a safety issue. It's more of an aesthetics issue. So the best thing you can do at that point is just when you open the jar to use it, just stir it in with the rest of the jam. but there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing to worry about. It's totally safe to consume. Here's another good one. Don't try to double a recipe. For whatever reason, jams and jellies do not turn out well if you try to double the recipe. So try to avoid that. Make one batch at a time. I know that can be cumbersome to do, but if you want it to set properly, we don't recommend that you make a bigger batch or make the batch smaller. Try to use recipes. Try to follow the recipe as it is written, and don't try to change it up by increasing the amount or making it a smaller batch. The other nice thing about that leads me to this point, another nice thing about the ball pectin is it does give you options. When you read the inside of the label, it does give you options for making larger batches. It does do all the math for you, and it does tell you the amounts you need for a larger or smaller batch. So that's another good reason to use that one. So I will link a few articles in the description box below my video about using less sugar or no sugar in canning and in jams and jellies specifically. I will also link the article that I got a lot of the information from about problems with jams and jellies, so that you guys can easily find that information and just refresh yourself. So, and some of what I shared is just experience. I have overcooked my jam before, and I have undercooked it and had it not set. That being said, if it doesn't set, it's not a total fail. If it doesn't set, just call it a fruit syrup and put it over ice cream or cake or something like that. So it's never a fail. It will always be delicious regardless of how it sets up. So speaking of which, I'll show you how beautiful our mixed berry agave jam turned out. It is absolutely delicious, you guys. I have to agree with Ball. One of the things that they stated in the recipe is that using the agave and not so much sugar really allows the flavor of the berries to shine, and I would totally agree with that assessment. So anyway, that's what it looks like. It looks to me like my berries are spread out throughout my jam. I like that. Nothing's floating this time. Absolutely beautiful. So I told you I had a little bit left over, so I'm gonna show you what it looks like up close and personal. It's already started to set. See how beautiful that is. Gorgeous color from the blackberries and the blueberries. And the taste, phenomenal. The taste of the berries is just amazing. So I totally agree with Ball with their assessment on that using the agave and less sugar is absolutely perfection making this mixed berry jam. So I hope you'll give it a try. Again, with the berries, you can change it up however you want to, mix and match whatever berries you want to use. You could also just make it a single berry jam as well. So anyway, thanks for coming along with me today, guys. I hope you learned something today and that you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions, leave them for me in the comment section below, and I will get to try to answer them as soon as I can. Have a fantastic day, you guys, and I'll see you soon. Mwah!